Hey guys, this is Ernest, and welcome to this story time. So, I want to share with you guys how I got my very first rental property about 20 years ago. Can't believe it's already been 20 years. Pretty crazy. So, this is it. On the screen, you can see it's a little house in Banning, California. I was literally 18 years old, um, almost 19, but about 18 years old, and my mom was actually looking at property on the MLS, which is multiple listing service that realtors, where they put all their properties for realtors and buyers to see. Now it syncs over to Zillow for buyers to see, but back then I believe it was just for realtors only. So she found this little one. It's just a little tiny one bedroom, good amount of land, but it had a lot of work. There was I don't remember if there was photos from the inside. If there was, they were not great. But we went over there and we saw it, and it smelled really bad. Most people they didn't want to like stay in there very long. We found out later the reason why it smelled so bad is because it hadn't been open for about 6 months or more, but I think it was like six to 9 months. Um, Everything was closed and it smelled really bad. Come to find out, there was three dead cats there, literally in the ceiling. I don't know how, but in the wall. I guess it fell from the ceiling. And there was another one in the basement, so we could just see the skeleton of a cat. So imagine all that time. I mean, to become a skeleton, all three. So that's why the place smelled really bad. Also, all the walls had a bunch of urine from the cats, so they were peeing in there. So the story is the woman who died. She didn't die there. They took her to like a convalescent or the hospital, and she passed away over there. But she had cats at home, and they were all locked up there. So eventually, I guess they just died because nobody fed them, right? So the place smelled bad because it was all enclosed. Everything was just there with three dead bodies, right? Three dead cats. So any buyer that would go through there, it would smell super bad. And then investors, I don't know why they didn't go through it. Maybe because it was a probate. I have no idea. But the actual seller, which was like the grandson of the person who passed away, was in another state. So that person hadn't even seen the property. And so we sent an offer. The agent called us back right away. Well, back then it was my mom. I was just 18. I was barely getting licensed in real estate, but got the call back and said, yeah, let's move forward. Let's open up escrow. But this is what's happening. Blah blah blah. So it gave us the whole everything that's going on. And so yeah, we opened up escrow. We put it all under my name. Back then we did stated income on myself, and it was amazing because this is the very first deal that we did. I guess from this Google photo, it's either really old or maybe they rehabbed it again later. Who knows? But it was just amazing because back then, I mean, I was 18 years old. Um, I think I think I was working at my first job, or it was before or transition or something. But I didn't have much money in my bank account. I probably had $200 or $300 or so, no more than $500. But I remember when we closed escrow, and we started working on this property. We would go. It was a bunch of us, a small crew, and even myself. This is where I learned how to do drywall. I got on the roof and I was doing some roofing. I did a little bit of tile. So I did multiple things. This is where I first started learning a little bit of construction, right, and handyman type of thing. And about 2.5 months or so after we fixed it up, we refinanced. So then our appraiser went over there, made sure everything was good. So when we refinanced, I was the owner. So when we refinanced and all under me, literally, I remember like it was yesterday. $117,000 hit my bank account. Now, could you imagine at 18 years old, where I've never had more than a couple $100, $300? Like I said, no more than $500. And all of a sudden, $117,000 hit my bank account. Right after that, I had to disperse and obviously pay off some investors and things like that. And we were left with whatever was left. And so it was just an absolute amazing. You can't really go back to a regular job after that. Once you're able to make hundreds of thousands of dollars within months. In this case, I mean, it felt like it was in one day, but obviously we were working for a couple months, two and a half. Let's just say, call it 3 months. It's amazing, and that's why I wanted to share this story with you guys, and to have it as the very first thing within the wealth access tier two, because this is big money, right? What I'm talking about, big business and big projects, real estate. In general, it's huge money that you can retire on, or you can switch and have a career from it, obviously. But there's really big money in it. That's why I've been in it ever since. Because there's nothing else, I can possibly do to make that amount of money, especially that fast. Okay. Now, if I didn't work on it, I wouldn't have had those skills, but I could still have made that same money. I would just pay more for them to do that. But in what else can you make that type of money that fast, right? So very amazing. Now I want to share with you guys a few things as far as this deal, okay? The mindset shift is really what, and hopefully the first deal will do that to you guys as well. It's really what shifts your mindset, because you guys have a certain wealth blueprint, money blueprint, or mindset as far as money goes, business, real estate, and money. And so it's not until you get your first deal where you see this big check or you see this big amount of money. In my case, it was wired directly to my bank account. I didn't have that as a check. So, you're going to see that, and it's going to change something inside of you, okay? Now, I already shared with you guys how I found my first deal. With you guys, I'm going to be doing some other videos on how to do it. In our case, we just looked on the multiple listing service. There is really good deals out there, and if you are looking in the MLS or talking to a realtor and they're helping you do that, I want to share with you guys in another video exactly what to look for and what to ask a realtor to find a good deal. Okay. Now, funding this deal in particular, what we did is we used some of our own money. My mom back then, she was doing real estate. She was a real estate agent, and she had some commissions. So she had that in the bank. So we used some of that, and then we had a private lender, somebody that lent us the rest of the money to purchase the property. Okay, and then we used credit cards and things like that to fix the property. So that's exactly how we did it. Okay. And so there's different combinations of things, and there's people that would love to lend money. I know for me, if you have a good deal, I don't mind lending money on a property. Worst case scenario, I make sure that the numbers are right, and if I lend money on it, if I put a lien on the property and something goes wrong or you can't finish or whatever, hey, I'll take over the project. That's exactly what hard money lenders do, right? But nowadays, it depends, case by case, but, I can use a hard money lender. I have private lenders. I can just use credit cards and personal loans. So whatever it takes to do the project, is fine as long as it makes sense and the numbers make sense and you can make money. So I'll go over that like a funding video, and so stay tuned for that. But that's exactly how I funded this one, okay? A private lender and our own money. So making the numbers work with this, running the numbers means this, okay? Before we buy any type of project, including this one, we looked at how much the rentals are. So whatever the rental are, then when we did the math on what the mortgage was going to be, which is principal, interest, insurance, and taxes, property taxes, that end number, if that number is less than the rental income in that area, whatever that average is, and I'm going to share with you guys in another video on how to do that. There's a lot to go over, right? So if there's money there and there's cash flow, then it makes sense to purchase it, right? And so in this case, I think there was only $200, $300, $400 a month cash flow, something like that. But when we refinanced and pulled out the $117,000 that I just shared with you guys and paid off everyone, we were left with about $50,000, $60,000. Okay, and so in that case, it gave us both. It gave us cash flow and a profit. Okay. And we handled tenants. We just, put some signs up, put some, talk to people to get renters, and we got some renters, right? So handling tenants is not that hard. Later in the future, if you're like, oh my God, we're gonna get tenants or things, you could just hire a property manager if that's the case, right? And they can either do just the property management, or they could do the property management and get you the tenant. Okay, those are two different things. And if you want somebody just to do that, just to get you the tenant only, then there's companies that do that. Okay. Now, last thing, what would I do differently this time? The only thing I would probably do is keep it. Okay. Because if I'd keep it, I'd be able to. Man, that was 20 years ago, so I would only have 10 years left on the loan. Or I can recast the loan, decrease the payment, and I would obviously the rental would be way higher, so my cash flow would be amazing, right? So I can either increase that and do that, cash flow, or but that's pretty much it. I think everything that I did with this property was perfect. I probably would have just kept going, to be honest. Maybe continue to put more money in it. I haven't seen it since. I haven't seen it for, I don't know, 17 years or so, 17, 18 years, because I did have this for like a couple years. But I would work on the landscape. I would work on this and that. As you can tell in this photo that you guys can see here, the next door neighbor, it's a really nice property, and they have the whole front done, right? And so if I did that with this property, it would look even better, right? So I hope you guys like this video. I'm gonna do more and more of these different tier videos. Again, you guys are in tier 2, the wealth access, so I'm gonna share all the money, all of the wealth building and real estate stuff. So again, I want to welcome you. Like I said, I need to create multiple videos on each portion on how to do it. Okay, but hopefully you guys liked my first deal. Man, it feels like it was yesterday. Maybe one day I'll go and buy it again. Who knows? All right, I'll see you guys on the next video. Have a great day. Bye.